Admiral Park Do-yeon stood on the bridge of the Resolute, watching the stars through the main window. He had served in space for 30 years, but nothing had prepared him for what appeared on his screens that morning. Above the colony world of Novacilla, a fleet of alien ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel. There were hundreds of them. Each one was bigger than anything humanity had ever built. "Sir," his communications officer said, voice shaking. "They're hailing us." Park straightened his uniform. First contact. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries. He had imagined it would be a time of wonder and hope. Looking at those massive warships, he felt only dread. "Put them through," he ordered. The screen flickered. A creature appeared, tall and covered in dark scales. Its eyes were yellow and cold, like a snake watching a mouse. When it spoke, the translator struggled to keep up. "I am High Commander Vorath of the Vorathi Dominion. You are the species called humans. We have watched you spread across 12 worlds. This expansion ends now. You will surrender your colonies and serve the Dominion as a client species. You will provide labor and resources. In return, we will allow you to exist." Park felt anger rise in his chest, but he kept his face calm. "I am Admiral Park Do-yeon of the United Stellar Command. We thank you for making contact, but we cannot accept your terms. We are a free people. Perhaps we can discuss trade agreements," or the alien made a sound like grinding rocks. It took Park a moment to realize it was laughing. "You misunderstand, small creature. This is not a negotiation. You are a prey species. You have no military worth mentioning. You have no technology that concerns us. You exist because we have not yet decided you are worth destroying." The alien leaned closer to the screen. "We will demonstrate what happens to prey that forgets its place." The transmission cut off. Seconds later, sensors screamed warnings. One of the Vorathi ships fired a single beam of energy at the orbital station above. Novacilla. The station housed 3,000 people families, workers, children. It vanished in a flash of light. No debris? No escape pods? Just gone. Lieutenant Yoon Nari gripped her console so hard, her knuckles turned white. She was 26 years old and had never seen combat. Now, she watched 3,000 people die in an instant. "All ships," Admiral Park said, his voice steady despite the horror in his eyes. "Attack formation. We fight." The human fleet moved forward. 12 destroyers, 4 cruisers, and the flagship Resolute. Against them stood 300 Vorathi warships. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. Human weapons splashed against Vorathi, shields like water against stone. Their missiles were shot down before they could reach their targets. The destroyers tried to flank the enemy fleet. But the Vorathi moved with perfect coordination, cutting them apart with surgical precision. Nara's ship, the destroyer, Braveheart, took a direct hit. The lights went out. Emergency power flickered on, showing red warning lights everywhere. Around her, crew members lay dead or dying. The captain was gone, torn apart by an exploding console. Through the cracked viewport, Nari watched the Resolute burn. Admiral Park's flagship, the pride of Earth's Navy, broke apart under concentrated fire. Escape pods launched, but Vorathi fighters hunted them down one by one. They were not taking prisoners. The battle lasted 40 minutes. When it ended, every human warship was destroyed or crippled. The Vorathi had not lost a single ship. Nari found herself among the survivors on the Braveheart. The ship was dead in space, leaking air and radiation. But she was alive. She crawled to a working terminal and activated the external cameras. What she saw broke something inside. Her Vorathi landing craft descended on Novacilla. The colony had no defenses left. 2 million humans lived there: farmers, engineers, teachers, children. Nari watched as the aliens rounded them up like cattle. She watched families separated. She watched people who resisted get cut down without hesitation. She watched the Vorathi examine humans the way a buyer examines livestock. One Vorathi officer held up a human child, inspecting it. Then it handed the child to another alien, who carried it toward a transport ship. The mother screamed and tried to follow. A Varathi soldier struck her down. Nari recorded everything. Her hands shook, but she kept recording. The galaxy needed to see this. Earth needed to see this. Hours later, a Varathi ship approached the brave heart. Nari prepared to die. Instead, they scanned the wreck and moved on. Apparently, a few survivors on a dead ship were not worth the effort. For 3 days, Nari drifted. She survived on emergency rations and recycled air. She watched the Varathi strip Novacilla of resources and people. She counted the transport ships leaving with human cargo. She recorded it all. On the 4th day, a human rescue ship found her. The crew looked at her with hollow eyes. They had seen the destruction too. Varathi sent a message to Earth, the rescue captain told her. They gave us 1 year to accept their terms. 1 year to become their slaves, or they will destroy every human world. Nari said nothing. She handed over her recordings. 2 weeks later, those recordings played before the United Earth Council. World leaders watched in silence as 3,000 people died in a flash. They watched as 2 million colonists were enslaved. They watched the Varathi laugh at humanity's attempt to fight back. When the recording ended, no one spoke for a long time. Finally, General Ko Yemen stood. He was an old soldier, veteran of the last war between Earth's nations decades ago. His face was stone. They call us prey, he said. They think we are weak. They think we will bow. He looked around the room at presidents and prime ministers, kings and generals. They have made a mistake. They do not know what humanity is. They do not know what we become when we are threatened. They have given us 1 year. His eyes were cold and hard. That is enough. In orbit around Earth, the broken remains of the brave heart was towed into a shipyard. Engineers studied every scar, every burn mark, every piece of alien weapon residue. In laboratories, scientists worked without sleep, analyzing fragments of Varathi technology recovered from the battle, somewhere in the Pacific Ocean. Old military bunkers that had been sealed for a century were opened. Technologies deemed too dangerous for peacetime were brought into the light and across the world. Humanity looked up at the stars with new eyes. Not wonder, not hope. Something older. Something that had slept in human hearts since the first. Ancestor picked up a stone and decided not to be prey. The awakening had begun. General Ko Yemen stood before the United Earth Council 1 month after the massacre at Novacilla. The room was different now. The politicians who once argued about trade and borders sat in silence. They were ready to listen. Let me tell you what humanity is, Ko began. For 10,000 years, we have been the deadliest species on our planet. We hunted creatures 10 times our size. We survived ice ages and disasters that killed everything else. We conquered every environment on Earth, from frozen wastelands to burning deserts. And when we ran out of enemies in nature, we fought each other. He paused, letting his words sink in. We are not prey. We are predators who learn to wear suits and build cities. The Varathi see our peaceful colonies and think we are soft. They see our small ships and think we are weak. They do not understand that we chose peace. War is in our blood. We simply forgot how good we are at it. The council voted unanimously that day. Every nation would contribute everything to the war effort. Old rivalries died in that room. There was only one enemy now. Dr. Shin Yuna led the Prometheus Initiative, a secret program working in bunkers deep under the mountains. She was 40 years old, brilliant, and had not slept more than 4 hours a night since the attack. Her team worked with fragments of Varathi technology recovered from destroyed enemy drones and weapons. I have good news and bad news, she told General Ko during his visit. The bad news is their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Their shields, their weapons, their engines all superior. And the good news? Yuna smiled. It was not a happy smile. Their technology is standardized. Every ship uses the same systems. Every weapon follows the same design. They have not innovated in thousands of years. They build things the way their ancestors built them. She held up a piece of burned alien circuitry. We have been studying their tech for 1 month. We already see weaknesses. Give us 6 more months, and we will build ships that can kill them. Across the world, factories converted to military production. Car plants built tank parts. Electronics companies made targeting systems. Shipyards that once built cargo vessels now assembled warships around the clock. Workers volunteered for double shifts, triple shifts. Sleep was for later. Sleep was for when humanity was safe. The military opened recruitment centers expecting modest numbers. They were overwhelmed. Young people lined up for blocks, waiting hours to enlist. Old veterans came out of retirement. Scientists left universities to join weapons programs. Athletes entered special forces training. Artists designed propaganda that reminded humanity what it was fighting for. There was no need for a draft. Humanity was angry. Sergeant First Class Wang Taewu was selected for the Awakening Protocol. He was 32 years old, a veteran of peacekeeping missions, and one of the best soldiers in the Korean Special Forces. He was also about to become something more than human. The process took 3 months. First came genetic modification. His muscles became denser, his bones harder, his reflexes faster. Then neural enhancement computers wired into his brain allowed him to process information at superhuman speed. Finally, conditioning, endless simulations that taught his enhanced body how to fight. When Taewu woke from the final procedure, he could hear conversations from 3 rooms away. He could see in near darkness. He could move faster than any normal human and keep fighting long after others would collapse. "How do you feel?" the doctor asked. Taewu looked at his hands. They were the same hands, but different. Stronger. Deadlier. "I feel ready."
It was the first of the enhanced soldiers.
By the end of the year, there would be 10,000. Intelligence arrived from spies and captured communications. The galaxy was controlled by 3 superpowers. The Varathi Dominion ruled through fear and slavery. The Kelmani Collective was a bureaucratic empire that treated lesser species as resources. The Drathan Empire was a military dictatorship that crushed rebellion with brutal efficiency. These 3 powers had divided the galaxy among themselves 8,000 years ago. Since then, there had been no major wars. They had forgotten what real conflict looked like. Their militaries were built for suppressing weak species and intimidating each other, not for fighting an enemy that wanted to kill them. "They think war is a game," General Koa said to his staff. "They move fleets around like chess pieces. They expect enemies to surrender when the odds are bad. They have never faced an enemy that will fight to the last soldier. They have never faced us." 7 months after Nova Silla, the first new warship rolled out of the orbital shipyard. The Vengeance was twice the size of any previous human vessel. Its hull was lined with armor designed to resist Varathi weapons. Its shields were based on stolen alien technology, modified by human engineers who found ways to make them stronger. Its weapons combined human kinetic systems with alien energy tech, creating something neither had seen before. Lieutenant Yunari, promoted to commander after her survival at Nova Silla, watched the ship from the observation deck. She had spent months training, studying, and preparing. The nightmare still came. 3,000 people vanishing in a flash. 2 million colonists led away in chains, but she had learned to use the anger. "She is beautiful," she said. General Ko stood beside her. "The first of 200. By the deadline, we will have a fleet that can hurt them." "Can we win?" Ko was silent for a moment. "Win? I do not know. Make them regret ever finding us?" "Absolutely." Across Earth and the remaining colonies, humanity prepared. Soldiers trained with new weapons. Pilots learned to fly new fighters. Engineers installed defense systems on every world. Civilians learned emergency procedures. The Varathi had given humanity 1 year to surrender. They expected a broken species to come begging for mercy. Instead, humanity was building an army. Dr. Shin Yuna made one final breakthrough in the 11th month. She discovered that Varathi shields had a specific frequency weakness. A precisely tuned weapon could punch through them like paper. She shared the discovery with weapons teams, who immediately began modifying every gun on every ship. "They thought we would use this year to accept our fate," she told her team. They do not understand humans. When you push us, we push back harder. When you hurt us, we do not forget. We do not forgive. On the last day of the deadline, the Varathi High Commander sent a message to Earth, expecting submission. Instead, a single image was transmitted back, 200 warships in formation. Weapons, armed crews ready. The message that followed was simple. You wanted tribute. We offer war. The Varathi did not understand what they were seeing. These humans had been beaten. They should be broken. Why were they showing defiance? High Commander Voreth laughed when he received the message. The prey thinks it can hunt, he said to his officers. We will teach them their place. He ordered his fleet to mobilize. 400 warships began moving toward human space. It was overkill for a primitive species, but he wanted to make an example. He did not know that he was about to face the most dangerous enemy the galaxy had seen in 10,000 years. He did not know that humanity had awakened. Admiral Yoon Nari stood on the bridge of the Vengeance, leading a fleet of 200 warships toward Nova Silla. 1 year ago, she had floated in a broken destroyer, watching her people enslaved. Now she was coming back. Admiral, her tactical officer, reported, Varathi garrison detected. 60 ships defending the planet. Nari studied the enemy formation on her screen. The Varathi ships held position in a standard defensive pattern, the same pattern they had used for centuries. They were confident. Why would they not be? The last time they faced humans, the battle lasted 40 minutes. Signal all ships, Nari ordered. Operation Thunderclap begins. Attack formation Wolfpack. The human fleet split into 5 groups, approaching from different angles. The Varathi commander watched this with confusion. His tactical programs told him the humans should attack in a direct line, concentrating their fire. Instead, they scattered like a hunting pack surrounding prey. The first shots were fired at extreme range. Human railguns accelerating metal slugs to incredible speeds struck the Varathi shields. The shields held barely. The Varathi commander smiled. These weapons were no threat. Then, the human ships did something unexpected. They accelerated directly toward the enemy fleet. Varathi doctrine said to keep distance. Their weapons were most effective at long range. They were designed to destroy enemies before those enemies could get close. But the human ships kept coming, taking hits, losing shields, and still pushing forward. They're insane, the Varathi commander said. What are they doing? Nari knew exactly what she was doing. Dr. Shin's research had revealed a critical weakness. Varathi weapons recharged slowly, and their shields were optimized for long-range combat. Up close, they were vulnerable. The Vengeance closed to point-blank range with a Varathi cruiser. At this distance, human weapons punched through alien shields like they were made of paper. The specially tuned frequencies tore holes in defenses that had not failed in 8,000 years. Fire all weapons, Nari commanded. The Varathi cruiser exploded. Across the battlefield, human ships engaged in close combat. They took terrible damage, but they gave worse. Varathi captains screamed for help as human destroyers rammed into their formations and unleashed devastating broadsides. Pilot Officer Choi Minji led Ghost Squadron through the chaos. Her fighter was small and fast, designed by pilots who had studied every failure of the first battle. Where Varathi fighters followed programmed patterns, human pilots improvised. Mingi saw an opening. 3 Varathi fighters were pursuing one of her squadron members. She dove from above, hitting speeds her instructor said were unsafe, and opened fire. 2 enemies exploded before they knew she was there. The third tried to run. She followed, matched its movements, and destroyed it. That is 11 kills, her wingman called out. Keep counting, Minji replied, already looking for the next target. On the ground, Colonel Wang Taiwu led the first wave of enhanced soldiers. Their dropships punched through weakened orbital defenses and hit the surface hard. Taiwu was the first one out. The Varathi had 10,000 soldiers guarding Nova Silla. They were big, strong, and terrifying. They had conquered dozens of species. They expected these soft, small humans to break and run. Taiwu moved faster than their eyes could follow. His enhanced reflexes let him dodge attacks that should have killed him. His modified muscles let him strike with bone-shattering force. His neural implants calculated angles and trajectories in milliseconds. The first Varathi soldier he faced was twice his size. It raised a weapon designed to kill armored vehicles. Taiwu was under its guard before it could fire, his combat knife finding the gap in its armor. The alien fell. The enhanced soldiers pushed forward like a wave. They did not fight the way the Varathi expected. They used cover. They flanked. They retreated and attacked from new angles. When one soldier fell, the others did not stop to mourn. They kept fighting, but it was not just the enhanced soldiers who fought. Regular human troops followed, and they were just as determined. They died in greater numbers, but they did not break. They pushed forward over the bodies of their fallen friends because behind them were 2 million enslaved humans who needed rescue. Why did they not surrender? A Varathi officer screamed into his communicator. They are losing soldiers. Why do they keep coming? No one could answer him. The Varathi had never seen anything like this. In orbit, the battle turned. The Varathi garrison, designed to intimidate and control, could not handle enemies who wanted to get close. Human ships suffered terrible losses, 30 destroyers gone. 2 cruisers crippled, but the Varathi were being destroyed. Admiral Nari watched the enemy flagship burn. Its commander was still broadcasting demands for surrender, unable to understand that humans did not think that way. All ships, she ordered. Finish them. The last Varathi vessel died 2 hours after the battle began. 60 enemy ships destroyed. Humanity lost 42 ships and 8,000 sailors. It was a terrible price, but they had one. On the surface, Colonel Taiwu's forces broke through to the slave camps. The Varathi guards tried to use the humans as hostages. It did not work. Enhanced soldiers moved through the camps like ghosts, eliminating guards without harming a single prisoner. When the fighting ended, Taiwu stood before the survivors of Nova Silla. They were thin, exhausted, and traumatized by a year of slavery. They looked at the human soldiers with disbelief. "You came back," an old woman said. "They told us no one would come. They said Earth had surrendered." Taiwu removed his helmet so she could see his face. "We are human," he said. "We do not leave our people behind." Across the galaxy, the news spread. The Varathi had been beaten, not just beaten, crushed. Their garrison at Nova Silla, which should have destroyed any human attack, was gone. On Varathi Prime, the High Council convened an emergency session. They watched recordings of the battle with growing horror. These could not be the same humans they had conquered a year ago. These ships were different. These soldiers were different. "Send for reinforcements from the core worlds," High Commander Vorath ordered. 400 ships. We will crush them." But even as he gave the order, fear crept into his hearts. These humans had changed. They had evolved from prey into something else. Something dangerous. Meanwhile, the other galactic powers watched with interest. The Kelmani Collective analyzed battle data and felt concern. The Drathan Empire studied human tactics and felt something they had not experienced in millennia. Worry. On Earth, people celebrated their first victory. But General Ko did not celebrate. He looked at the casualty reports, 8,000 dead in one battle, and knew this was only the beginning. "The Varathi will send everything they have," he told his staff. "And when they fail, the other powers will join them." "We have kicked the hornet's nest. Can we win?" an aide asked. Ko looked at the stars through his window. "Ask me again in a year." Admiral Nari remained at Nova Silla, overseeing recovery operations. She walked through the freed slave camps, shaking hands, offering comfort. These people had suffered for a year because humanity was too weak to protect them. Never again, she promised herself. Never again. A communication arrived from Earth. Varathi reinforcements were mobilizing. 400 ships were coming. Nari looked at her battered fleet. She had lost 42 ships. More were damaged. She had maybe 150 combat-ready vessels. "Let them come," she said. "We will be ready." Behind her, the sun set over Nova Silla. In the camps, former slaves looked up at human warships in orbit. For the first time in a year, they felt hope. Humanity had taken its first step into the galactic arena. There was no going back now. Ambassador Han Soo-jin walked into the negotiation chamber on Neutral Station 7. The room was built for giants. The chairs were too big. The table was too high. Everything reminded humans that they were small in this galaxy. Across the table sat representatives of the three galactic superpowers. The Varathi delegate was a scarred warrior who looked at Han like she was food. The Kelmani representative was a thin creature with too many eyes, watching everything. The Drathan ambassador was covered in ceremonial armor, ancient and proud. "You have called this meeting," the Varathi said. "Speak." Han stood despite the oversized furniture. She was a small woman from a small planet, but her voice was steady. "We are here to discuss peace," Varathi laughed. The Kelmani made a wet sound that might have been amusement. Only the Drathan remained silent, studying Han with cold eyes. "Peace," the Varathi said. "Your species attacked our garrison. You killed Varathi soldiers. There will be no peace. There will be punishment." "Your soldiers died because they enslaved our people," Han replied. "Return what you have taken. Leave our space. We will not seek revenge." The Kelmani leaned forward. "You do not understand your situation, human. The three powers have discussed this matter. Your species is a threat to galactic stability. You will surrender unconditionally. Your military will be dissolved. Your technology will be confiscated. Your population will be—" It paused, searching for the right word, "managed." Han felt anger rise in her chest, but kept her face calm. "And if we refuse?" The Drathan spoke for the first time. His voice was deep and ancient. "Then the three powers will unite against you. 2,000 warships will reduce your worlds to ash. Your species will be erased from history. This is not a threat. This is mathematics." Han reached into her pocket and produced a small device. "Before I respond, I want to show you something." The screen behind her lit up. Video played. Varathi soldiers rounding up humans like animals. Families torn apart. Children taken from their mothers. Bodies of those who resisted piled in the streets. "This is what your peace looks like," Han said. "This is what happened to Nova Silla under Varathi rule." The Varathi delegate sneered. "Prey does not deserve better treatment." Han smiled. It was not a friendly smile. "We killed 60 of your ships with 200 of ours. We freed 2 million of our people. And we have been building more ships every day." She leaned forward. "You call us prey? Prey does not fight back. Prey does not win battles. You made a mistake when you attacked us. You woke something that should have been left sleeping." The Drathan ambassador stood. "Enough. Your words mean nothing against 2,000 warships. Accept our terms or face destruction." Han gathered her materials and walked toward the door. She stopped at the threshold and looked back. "You have ruled this galaxy for 8,000 years. You have forgotten what war really means. Let me remind you, humans do not surrender. Humans do not forget. And humans do not forgive." She paused. "We will see you on the battlefield." The door closed behind her. Back on Earth, General Ko prepared for the coming storm. The combined alien fleet was massive. 2,000 capital ships from 3 empires, supported by countless smaller vessels. Humanity had 350 warships. The math was terrible. "We cannot win a direct battle," Ko told his commanders. "So we will not fight one." His strategy was built on one idea: make victory cost more than the aliens could afford. Human ships would hit and run, targeting supply lines and isolated squadrons. They would use ambushes and traps. They would trade space for time, retreating when necessary, striking when the enemy least expected. "They expect us to stand and fight like honorable warriors," Ko explained. "We will fight like survivors. We will be everywhere and nowhere. We will bleed them one ship at a time until they decide we are not worth the trouble." The first test came at the Battle of the Threshold, the edge of human space. Fleet Admiral Park Do-yan, the same admiral who had survived the massacre at Nova, Scylla commented the defense. 2,000 alien ships arrived, expecting easy prey. Instead, they found a minefield. Human engineers had spent months seeding the approach with hidden weapons. Explosions tore through the alien formation, destroying 50 ships before the battle even began. The alien fleet pushed forward anyway. Their numbers were overwhelming. Park ordered a fighting retreat, his ships striking at the enemy flanks and then disappearing. Every time the aliens advanced, human ships appeared from unexpected directions. "They fight like insects," a Kelmani commander complained. "They bite and run before we can swat them." But the bites added up. Human weapons, tuned to breach alien shields, killed ships that had never been challenged. Human pilots, aggressive and unpredictable, tore through fighter screens. After 16 hours of battle, Park's fleet retreated. They had lost 80 ships, but the alien fleet had lost 400 ships. More than the aliens had lost in the past 1,000 years combined. The Drathon contingent pulled back first. Across their empire, slave species had watched the battle broadcasts. They had seen the great powers bleed. Rebellions erupted on 12 Drathon worlds. The Empire needed its ships at home. "The humans have infected the galaxy with hope," a Drathon general growled. "Every slave now thinks they can fight." Among those slaves was a Kelmani named Tolvek. He had been born in chains, worked in chains, and expected to die in chains. Then he saw humans defeat the Vorathi. He saw them stand against the combined might of 3 empires. He saw them refuse to surrender. Tolvek escaped his masters and contacted human intelligence. "I speak for millions," he told them. "Across the galaxy, slaves are watching. If you prove the masters can be beaten, we will rise. We will fight beside you." Ambassador Han met with him on a secret station. "What can you offer?" "Information," Tolvek said. "We know where their supply depots are. We know the patrol routes of their fleets. We know which worlds are ready to rebel." His many eyes gleamed with hatred accumulated over generations. "And when the time comes, we offer soldiers. Not as good as humans, perhaps, but there are billions of us." Han extended her hand. Tolvek stared at it, confused. "It is how humans seal agreements," she explained. "It means we are allies." Tolvek took her hand. His grip was weak. A lifetime of slavery had made him frail, but his determination was strong. "The masters told us we were nothing," he said. "They told us resistance was futile. Then you came and proved them wrong. You have no idea what you have started." Back at the threshold, the alien fleet regrouped. The Drathon were gone, recalled to suppress rebellions. The Kelmani were nervous, watching their own slave populations for signs of unrest. Only the Vorathi remained committed to the attack. "We can still destroy them," High Commander Vorath insisted. "We have numbers." But his commanders were not so sure. The humans fought in ways they could not predict. Every battle cost more ships than expected, and reports were coming in from across their empire. Slaves were resisting. Production was falling. The war was costing more than anyone had anticipated. General Ko received intelligence reports and allowed himself a small smile. They expected a quick victory. They thought we would break. Now they are learning the truth about humans. "What truth?" an aide asked. Ko looked at the star map, at the vast empires that surrounded tiny human space. "We do not give up. Ever. We will fight until we win or until we are all dead. There is no middle ground." He turned to his staff. "Send word to our fleet. The next phase begins." Across the galaxy, Tolvek broadcast a message to every slave world he could reach. The masters bleed. The masters die. The masters can be beaten. Rise. All of you, rise. The galaxy that had been stable for 8,000 years began to burn. 2 years after first contact, Admiral Yun Nari stood on the bridge of her flagship and looked at something no human had ever seen, the Vorathi homeworld. The planet was beautiful in a terrible, way-dark oceans, purple continents, cities that glowed with cold light. For 8,000 years, it had been the center of an empire built on slavery and fear. Around her, the coalition fleet spread across space like a wall of steel. Human warships flew beside vessels from 30 liberated species. Ships built by the Kelmani rebels. Ships captured from the Drathan. Ships constructed in secret by slaves who had dreamed of this moment for generations. Coalition Fleet Nari broadcast. This is Admiral Yoon. Today we end what they started. Today we show the galaxy that no species is born to be a slave. She paused, remembering Novacilla, remembering 3,000 people who died in a flash, remembering 2 million dragged away in chains. All ships, advance. 6 months earlier, the Kelmani Collective had surrendered. Their empire, weakened by rebellion and military losses, could not continue the fight. Ambassador Han negotiated terms. All slaves freed, reparations paid, the collective demilitarized. 1,000 years of oppression ended with the stroke of a pen. The Kelmani High Council had stared at her with their many eyes. "You could destroy us," one said. "Why offer mercy?" "Because we are not you," Han replied. "We did not start this war to build an empire. We started it to free our people. That goal has not changed." The Drathan Empire fell 3 months later, but not to human weapons. Internal rebellion tore it apart. Slave species that had served for millennia rose up when they saw the masters bleeding. Drathan generals surrendered to coalition forces not because they were defeated, but because they feared their own former slaves more than they feared humans. Colonel Wang. Taiwu led peacekeeping forces into Drathan territory. It was strange work for a man built for war. He accepted surrenders from creatures who had once considered humans vermin. He protected Drathan civilians from angry mobs seeking revenge. "Why do you protect them?" a former slave asked. "They enslaved us for centuries." Taiwu looked at the cowering Drathan soldiers. They were afraid. For the first time in their lives, they were the weak ones. "Because that is what makes us different," he said. They ruled through fear. "We will build something better." Only the Varathi refused to surrender. Their High Commander Vorith rallied his remaining forces around the homeworld. 200 ships all that remained of an empire that once controlled a quarter of the galaxy. "We are Varathi," he broadcast to his fleet. "We do not surrender to prey. We will fight to the last ship, the last soldier, the last breath. Let history remember that we died with honor." Admiral Nari received the message and felt nothing but tired sadness. So much death already, so much more to come. But there was no other way. The Varathi would not negotiate. They could not accept a galaxy where they were not masters. "All ships," she ordered, "engage." The Battle of Varathi Prime lasted for hours. The coalition fleet outnumbered the defenders 6-1, and human tactics had evolved far beyond what the Varathi could counter. Dr. Shin's weapons punched through shields that had once been invincible. Coalition pilots flew with the fury of liberated slaves, fighting their former masters. High Commander Vorath died on the bridge of his flagship, still giving orders as the ship broke apart around him. He never understood what had happened. 1 year ago, humans were prey. Now, they were standing over the ruins of his empire, when the last Varathi warship fell silent. Admiral Nari ordered a ceasefire. Coalition ships moved into orbit around the homeworld. Below, billions of Varathi waited for destruction that did not come. "This is Admiral Yoon Nari of the Coalition Fleet," she broadcast to the planet. "The war is over. Surrender your remaining forces and accept the following terms: war crimes, trials for those responsible for atrocities, dismantlement of the caste system that designated other species as prey, and integration into the coalition as equals." She paused. "We offer you what you never offered others: mercy. Take it." Varathi ruling council surrendered the next day. Supreme Commander Ko Yemen addressed the Coalition Congress 6 months later. Representatives from 40 species gathered on Earth, the small planet that had changed everything. The chamber was designed to accommodate beings of all sizes, from tiny insectoids to massive four-armed giants. 2 years ago, Ko began, humanity was alone. We thought we were the only intelligent life in the universe. Then the Varathi came. They killed our people. They enslaved our colonies. They called us prey. He looked around the room at species that had suffered far longer than humans. We refused to accept their judgment. We fought back, and we discovered that we were not alone. Across the galaxy, billions of beings were waiting for someone to show that the Masters could be defeated. He gestured to the coalition banner behind him, 40 species, represented in a circle of equals. We did not win this war to become the new masters. We did not free slaves to make them our subjects. We stand here today to build something that has never existed, a galaxy of free peoples. No species above another. No masters and no slaves. His voice hardened. This is our promise. As long as humanity endures, we will fight for this vision. We will defend the weak. We will oppose tyrants. And we will never forget what it means to be called prey. The Congress rose in applause. Humans, Kelmani, former Drathon slaves, and dozens of others standing together for the first time. Years passed. The galaxy healed. Former slaves built new lives on worlds their ancestors had dreamed of. The coalition expanded as more species joined, drawn by the promise of equality. Human technology spread across the stars, modified by alien ingenuity into something greater than either could create alone. Admiral Yunari retired to Novacilla, the world where everything changed. A monument stood in the capital city, listing the 3,000 names of those who died in the first attack. Every year, on the anniversary, she visited. One spring morning, an alien child approached her at the monument. The child was from a species Nari did not recognize, one of the many liberated peoples who had settled on human worlds. "Are you the Admiral?" the child asked. "My teacher said you fought in the war," Nari smiled. Her hair was gray now. Her hand shook slightly, but her eyes were still sharp. "I did? Were humans always warriors?" Nari looked at the monument. 3,000 names. Behind them, millions more who died in the years that followed. So much pain. So much sacrifice. But also liberation. Also hope. "No," she said finally. "We were not always warriors. For a long time, we were peaceful. We explored. We built. We dreamed of meeting others among the stars." She paused. "But when they came for us, when they hurt our people and tried to make us slaves, we remembered something we had forgotten. We remembered that we are survivors. We are fighters. We do not surrender, and we do not abandon those who need us." The child looked up at her with curious eyes. "Is that why you helped us? Is that why humans freed everyone?" Nari knelt to meet the child's gaze. "We helped because no one should have to live in chains. We freed everyone because that is who we are. The Varathi called us prey because we were small and peaceful. They learned too late that the smallest creatures can have the biggest hearts." She stood and looked at the sky, where coalition ships patrolled peacefully. "They woke something in us. Something old. Something powerful. Now we use that power to protect others." The child thanked her and ran back to join a group of friends, human and alien. Children playing together in the shadow of the monument. I watched them for a long time. This was what they had fought for. Not conquest. Not revenge. This children from different worlds playing without fear. A galaxy where no one was prey. She placed her hand on the monument one last time. "We did it," she whispered to the 3,000. "We kept our promise." Above her, the stars shone bright. Somewhere out there, in the vast darkness between galaxies, other civilizations might be watching. Other powers might be calculating whether humanity was a threat. Let them watch, Nari thought. Let them learn from the Varathi's mistake. Humanity was awake now, and they would never sleep again.